Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Something's happened which I find to be quite gratifying because it's something I've been saying for some time. And now, of course, it's all out in the open and we can all accept, that I was right about it. John Swinney has now taken direct control over the NHS in Scotland. But wait, I hear you say, surely Neil Gray is the health minister. Well, yes, he is, in name only. And as I've been saying for some time, Neil Gray is out of his depth. And he's lost. He's completely drowning in the work. He doesn't phone anyone. He doesn't talk to anyone. He certainly never visits a hospital. He locks himself in his office all day and sits there stimming like that. Because he doesn't know what to do. He had a small little department, energy, which was a paper-pushing exercise. He was then given one of the biggest of them all, health, which involves people. And he lost it. He just can't deal with it. It's too big, it's too complex, and it's too hard for a man with his obviously very limited abilities. And so it's all gone to shit. And so the First Minister, John Swinney, has basically taken control and sidelined Neil Gray and basically put him out of the picture because it's obvious now to everyone that Gray is not up to the task. He's now the one that's chairing the weekly health committee meetings and things. And he helped over Christmas. Apparently it's been released in the papers that over Christmas it was Swinney himself who intervened over the flu crisis and basically told Neil Gray, stay at home, I'll do your job for you. Why didn't he just fire Gray? Well, of course, if he did that, it would be embarrassing for him. He's the one who appointed Gray. To fire him is to say that I have got terrible judgment in appointing people to positions to which they are no longer suitable. I made the mistake. It was my fault for appointing him. Makes me look stupid. And so, of course, he won't fire him. Meanwhile, Neil Gray sits there enjoying all the full salary of a minister, but not doing the job. Swinney also visited an accident emergency unit in Edinburgh. He saw what he called the enormity of the challenge, and he questioned why nothing had been done. And the nurses basically said, because we've got a health secretary who won't do anything. The management of the hospital said, we've tried talking to Neil Gray, and Neil Gray won't talk to us. Now, there's over 800,000 Scots on waiting lists. That's nearly a quarter. You know, you're getting on for nearly a fifth of all Scots, say, are on a waiting list in Scotland. And that isn't going to improve anytime soon, and especially not when you've got Neil Gray in charge. And so he is basically pointless. He's a pointless man. But then for quite some time, he really has been. All he's done recently is concentrate on growing his 1970s porn moustache, you know. And that's all he's managed to do. He hangs around and pretends that he's important, pretends that he's, on the game, does Neil Gray. But he's not. And when he's asked questions, he does not know the answers. It's beyond him. He's basically retreated into himself, I suspect. And if it's the case, I do sympathise with him. I think he's depressed. I think he's got to a place where he's not in his right mind, literally. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. He's been over-promoted, the Peter principle. And he's been over-promoted into a role for which he can't handle. And rather than saying, look, I can't handle it, he's struggling on. And it's damaging his mental health. And I genuinely think that. And that's why he's retreated. And he's there. He's depressed. He needs to quit. He needs to quit and do something more suitable for his talents. Litter picking or something, But when you have meetings, health meetings, and the minister often doesn't turn up or just sends his deputy, or even if he does turn up, doesn't contribute, things are pretty bad. And that's the state of affair. Apparently over the Christmas holidays, since, Parliament broke up, it was the First Minister, it was Swinney, who was convening with all the calls on this because Neil Gray wasn't doing it. It was Swinney that was overseeing the data that was being released. It was Swinney dealing with the hospitals. Stop paying Neil Gray. He's not doing his job. Don't pay him his salary. He said, this is the line from Swinney, I am working with Neil to make sure we give everything we can to make sure the National Health Service is able to navigate its way through the challenges we are facing. One of the big challenges, of course, is Neil Gray. If you truly want to sort it out, fire him and put in someone who's capable, who knows what they're doing, someone who isn't going to fold faster than Superman on laundry day. He's just not there mentally. Physically there. Physically he's not there. Mentally he's not there. He needs to go. He needs to resign as minister and, put his political life behind him. He's obviously not very good at it. But for Swinney to take over is a sign that we know. The thing is, we know Gray's no good at his job, but we also know Robertson's no good at her job. Transport Secretary Fiona Hislop. Have you seen Transport? She's no good at her job. So you have to ask, is there actually anyone in the SNP government in Scotland who's any good at their job? No. There you go. No, I can't think of a single one. Now, what are the big sort of conclusions from this? You go around and you see this, and all you can think of is it's a failing government filled with talentless people whose egos far outweigh their ability. And it isn't going to improve until they're out. You need to get people in who actually know what they're doing, who are capable of what they're doing, and who are willing to engage. This lot sit in their ivory tower, don't they? We're far too grand. We're far too grand to deal with patients. We're far too grand to deal with the transport problems. Oh no, we're far too grand to deal with the economy. And so everything just falls into a huge pile of shit. Jackie Bailey, she said the very fact the First Minister is taking personal responsibility for something as important as the NHS is welcome, but it appears that Neil Gray has been sidelined, and the question is why it's taken so long. The truth is that Swinney has been at the heart of the SNP government for 18 years. This meltdown has happened on his watch. Scotland's NHS needs a change of direction, a change of personnel, and Scottish Labour is ready to deliver it. It's got to put the old Scottish Labour thing in. It's finished, isn't it? The NHS in Scotland is dying on its arse, and it doesn't matter how many times Swinney intervenes. Unless he can stop spending money on independents and put the money into the NHS, it ain't going to happen. Hey-ho. Let me know what you think. Thanks very much. Bye.